Okay, this is for the Diamond's Direct Integration Utility. First, install the application onto a machine that has read-write permissions to all of the source files, failed directories, folders, whatnot. Then install the software by dropping on the MSI. And let's just wait for it here. And you'll need to install as an administrator because this application needs to write to the service, to the services, and that probably will require administrative privileges. All right, I'm just going to install it to the default directory, which puts onto the x86 and to the Long Martin directory, and then to the Diamond Direct Integration Utility. Install it for everyone. Next, next. And now it's going to go ahead and attempt to write the files out to the folder as well as write it to the Service Manager. Service Manager may request extra permissions. And mine is. So I'm just going to use the administrator of my machine. Actually, I'm going to use my domain administrator. Hopefully I typed it right. Nope. Trying again. There we go, success. Okay, once it's installed, you should find your files, the application installed to the C:\program files x86, Long Martin Technology, DD utility. That temp file was from my first attempt, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. If it'll let me. Come on, let me. Forget it. Anyway, it doesn't need to be there. The config file, I put a sample out here into the sample config file directory. I would just copy that on up to the original directory. I don't know what is going on, but I'm having a heck of a time. It's kind of like there's an application running in the background. It's eating up all my resources. Yeah, that's weird. Let's close Explorer and open it up again. No, I still can't click it. So we'll just cheat and go to the checkbox method. All right, so here's our files that we have. We want to copy this up into here and paste. Okay, and so now I'm just going to edit this. Now what we can do is we can edit with the config editor right here, the configurator. So select the file that you just dragged into there. When you hit tab, it'll read the file. A lot of this is extra stuff for integrating into grade planning, so a lot of it's not useful. But like for notification of errors and whatnot, you probably want to go ahead and fill out the SMTP. The processor tells it how often to run. Right now it's set for every minute. And I'm going to make this blank. So in the config file, it actually says if this is blank, ignore the scheduled time. Under processing, this is where the debug mode is set to 0. That means it'll keep a little file for us. I have 2 companies out there. We need to get rid of one of them, but let's use this one right here. The companies aren't actually used for this integration in the method that it's normally used for, but we're going to leave it out there just to, we'll just call it standard. I don't know, doesn't matter. But do make sure that the active is set to true. 1 is true, 0 is false. Company folders, this is where we're going to tell it where to find our folders at. All right, and right now this is my home directory for where all my files are located. So I'm just going to go out there and make sure I can get access to it. TW05, and I do have access to it. Let's load up some sample files. So I'm going to put it into my incoming folder. Oh, I already have some there. Good. For that matter, let's make sure the field's emptied. Process is empty. Let's empty that out. And results, let's empty that out. Okay, so the only thing that's left in here is my incoming directory. So the way I'm going to do this, if we put this off to the side here, this tells us where the main directory is. Now in here, under AP imports, for the output results folder, I'm going to say AP results. So what it'll do is it'll depend on what's up here to what's down here. So really you're going to have fcontent Diamonds Direct TW005 /AP /results, and that'll be where the results are. Same thing on incoming, process files, infills folder. I think that's all we need to set up in here. I'm going to go ahead and manually delete that one out of the, well actually let's just make it inactive. And save. Oh great, I don't have permissions. So I need to give myself permissions to my own folder. Probably the biggest problem with running installs into the program files directory with the UCC. So I'm just going to go in here, program files, and properties, and I'm going to give everybody access to that folder. Add everyone and full access. And try and save again. There we go. Okay, now that was for configuring the configuration file, which if you remember was right here. That's this guy. Make a backup of that. You know what? Take a copy of that and stick it into here. Yeah, I'll do that, replace. I mean, the sample config file will get replaced over and over every time you run the installer, so you want to give it a different name. Now, the other thing it did is in services, it created, or should have created, a Diamonds Direct. There it is right there. So it had created this service. Open it up. Change its login to whatever you need to have run on your system. I'm going to do local system. Actually, I just gave full access to this one, so I'm going to keep it there. Before you start it, you need to put in a parameter. So /c dd config.xml. Okay, just so it knows where to find it. And you can hit apply and then start, but I always do start just to make sure it's going to run. If it were going to fail, it would have failed at that point. So I'm going to apply and OK, and we can see that it's running. Another thing that it did during the install process is it created an event viewer for you, or event log, that you'll be able to see in the event viewer. So if I open this up, wait for it to populate. Shamo. Waiting. Let's let that run. We'll come back to it. All right, so this is running. Now, since I had the debug log on, I can come out here, and in the temp folder, C:temp, I'll see the process logging. And so I can actually make sure there's no errors or anything like that. Of course, right now it's bloated with so much information that you wouldn't want to read this. It's something for me. But if we ever have problems, we need to throw it in debug mode. We can go in there and check it. Let's see, this finally populated. Okay, there it is. So you'll have this Diamond's Direct Integration utility event log, and there's an error. So let's see what's going on. And like I suspected, permission issues. So the first thing I try and do is I try and validate that the service has permissions to the directories. And as you can see here, it doesn't. All you have to do is create yourself a service login on your machine, and then change the service to run under that user so that permissions won't be an issue. All right. Now, if the service is giving you problems, you can always stop the service. And you can run this manually. So you could create a batch file, but I'm going to show you how to do it through the command line. Open up the command prompt. Change over to the directory where you installed it. x86, Long Martin, direct deposit. Diamond's Direct, my bad. And then under there, if I look for all the executable files, I see one of them is called runtime. So this is the process server. This is the configurator that allowed us to edit the config file. This is the utility that will actually run from the command line. So I can simply come down here and type hello world online, runtime.exe, right there, hit enter. Now it too is logging its information over to this process logger. If we take a peek in here, we'll see that it's already started writing the data. And then if we come back, once she's finished, which should be soon, nope, got an unhandled exception. Oh, I tried to process GL files. I should have turned those off. So in my config file, what I forgot to do in the configurator, let's open that file up again. Go down here to processing, GL imports, active. I should have made this false because I don't have any of those directories set up, and that's what it bombed out on. I'm sure if we looked at the temp file in the error log, it picked up the config. So the error was right here. And actually, that message is what I'm throwing until I have that part of the application completed. So it actually did what it's supposed to do, just throw a blank message saying this is not implemented yet. All right, that's all there is to it. That demonstrated how you can run it from the runtime, how you install the service, how to get to the event log, how to change the service login parameters. Let's don't turn that off. Let's turn this off.